in the crypto market's history. And we'll get to that in a second. Obviously, you guys know Bitcoin, there is no second best. But for context, the COVID crash was over $1 billion in liquidations. When Sam Scamman Bankman-Fried stole $10 billion from everybody, there was a little over $1 billion in liquidations. On Friday, there was almost $20 billion in liquidations across the cryptocurrency sector. That is the biggest liquidation event in this industry by far, in order of magnitude bigger, 20 times as big almost as other massive events in this space.
It began like any other Friday until it didn't. Markets were already nervous after President Trump's intense remarks on tariffs and rising trade tensions with China. Then, in just a few hours, both traditional markets and crypto started to plunge. For Jack Mallers, it felt like Liberation Day once again. He saw Bitcoin drop quicker and deeper than stocks, but instead of fear, he recognized a signal. Mallers claims that Bitcoin is the clearest measure of global liquidity. It's a 24/7 open market accessible to anyone, anywhere. No closing bells, no circuit breakers, no hidden manipulation. When liquidity disappears, Bitcoin is the first to respond. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this.
A little bit, and he did just that. So later on, he followed up and he posted, "It has been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position on trade and sending extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to, effective November 1st, 2025, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries, without exception, and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. Based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the United States of America and not other nations who are similarly threatened, starting November 1st of 2025 or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Also, on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software." That's a big one, software. So you're starting to understand where the United States feels it has leverage. Well, newsflash, it doesn't have any, but where Trump wants to pretend that it has leverage. "It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter." And so this, guys, is we're just redoing Liberation Day all over again. So you saw stocks down, Bitcoin down. I've said before, Bitcoin is the most accurate gauge on liquidity. Bitcoin is the smoke alarm, and it goes both ways. That means over the last 15 years, it's been the best performing asset in human history, bar none. I don't give a shit what early startup you were a part of, what gold your dad gave you as part of your inheritance plan. It doesn't matter. No one has outperformed Bitcoin, and it's for that reason. But that also means on the downside, when markets are in turmoil on a Friday night, Bitcoin's the only 24/7 free market at significant scale globally that everyone has access to. And so Bitcoin, to me, is the ultimate truth machine. There is no other market open 24/7, accessible to everyone, and truly free. It is a truth machine. And so you saw markets across the board freak out, start to print red, and you saw Bitcoin lead to the downside because the world started to ensue panic. Now, here we go. Look at that. Look at that candle. That's a 12-hour candle. So Bitcoin went from over $120,000 to around $100,000 was the low it printed in a 12-hour time span. Insane. For context, this was the biggest liquidation case, just for context. Now, I immediately, I don't want to show you guys that yet. When this happened, obviously, I'm the CEO of Strike. I'm the CEO of 21. So I get on the phone. I get in meetings. We start solving things for customers. We get to work. But I immediately texted some of my buddies, and I said, how long do you think until Trump reverts? Until he posts and says, you guys know I like China, right? You guys know that it's not like we're not going to come to terms. We're not going to find a deal. I'm still going to take the meeting in China. How long until he pussies out? Because like I said, we have no leverage. We are a hyper-financialized country. We rely solely on our stock market to finance both our interest payments and as a form of export globally. We can't afford for the S&P 500 to open up 10% down, 20% down, and persist. We would default as a country. This is what we saw Liberation Day. I texted immediately, buy the dip. I'm texting my family. I'm texting my friends, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Liberation Day 2.0. Liberation Day 2.0. Unless you believe that the United States of America is willing to live through a form of austerity, a Great Depression greater than any other depression in the history of humanity, if you think the American people will vote for that, will not riot against that, and that the Trump administration has the cojones to realize the loss themselves and eat it like a man, buy the dip. The only way out is for them to print the money. They can flex and taunt with their Twitter fingers all they want, and I'm going to get into this. You guys know I'm not a left or a right guy. I'm not a blue or a red guy. I'm an orange guy. I'm a freedom guy. I'm a distributed networks guy. I'm a son of the internet. Okay? But this is how the game goes. They're playing politics. You get on, you talk a big game, you show everyone that you have the cojones to stand up to China because Joe Biden didn't. And I text my friends, how long until we get a reversion? It's as simple as this. In fact, do you want to know who explained it in plain English? Guys, Putin. Putin did. This is from Putin in 2022 when the United States sanctioned them off the global financial system. He said, and I quote, according to the IMF, global currency reserves are at 7.1 trillion and 2.5 trillion euros now. $7.1 trillion and 2.5 trillion euros. These reserves are devalued at an annual rate of about 8%. Okay, that makes sense. That's higher than the 2% inflation CPI target that us plebs get tricked into believing from the Federal Reserve, isn't it? Anyways, I continue. Moreover, they can be confiscated or stolen anytime if the United States dislikes something in policy of the states involved. I think this has become a very real threat for many countries that keep their gold and foreign exchange reserves in these countries and currencies. According to analyst estimates, and this is an objective analysis, a conversion of global reserves will begin just because there is no room for them with such shortages. They will be converted from weakening currencies into real resources like food, energy commodities, and other raw materials. Other countries will be doing this, of course. Obviously, this process will further fuel global dollar inflation. You think I'm an idiot that wears hoodies and has the empty closet, blah, 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 blah. Putin says it. Ken Griffin's saying it. Ray Dalio is saying it. Larry Fink is saying it. Jamie Dimon is saying it. Sorry, the Bitcoiners were right. Tough pill for a lot of you guys to swallow out there that like to hate on us. Sorry. Now we got to make a decision. You want to prosper or not? I don't know how else to put it to you. The world is sick of printed pieces of fiat. The gig is up. The game is over. You have to own something else. And the decision is yours. Do you want to own a yellow rock? Do you want to own the euro, the pound, the dollar? Do you want to own equity in a company that you don't know much about? You don't know the leadership team. Is it valued properly? Is the multiple too high? Don't kid with yourself. You have no fucking idea. Or do you want to own the only scarce thing we've ever invented? Ever. That's the thing, guys. You can't get diluted owning Bitcoin. There's only 21 million. This is the point. We uniquely, the timeline we're living through is insane. I both feel bad for the everyday man that's getting up and busting his ass and not making progress, because what a timeline to be alive and have to live through unknowingly. I also feel blessed. We are in the heart of change. This is fun. We're living through the change of global monetary policy. Listen, I wake up every single day and I work on the best money humans have ever come across to solve the hardest problems we've ever faced. This is incredible. We're all a part of this movement. And it's the coolest thing is that we all play a role here. Like, we all have an equity stake in what our future is going to look like. But guys, make no mistake. What happened on Friday? What happened since? Is China and the U.S. fighting? Yes. Yes. The United States is trying to perpetuate the little marginal pieces of the 1971 dollar that still benefit them. And the world has had enough. We are moving on to...
Moore's message goes beyond finance. It's deeply personal. He emphasizes that this isn't a matter of politics or ideology. It's about taking ownership of your own life and choices. He urges people to stop handing over their future to governments or influencers. Don't ask whether something is good or bad, make the decision yourself. He pushes his audience to think critically, stop waiting for approval, and take back control of their financial future. To him, owning Bitcoin is more than just an investment. It represents freedom, stepping away from a broken system, claiming the value of your work, and embracing a technology built on honesty, transparency, and fairness.